kept reading it. And I'm like, oh, don't do that. Oh, no. Because I never really built a rocket before. And I would argue that most of the people in our time on the planet have not built rockets either. And when you think about it, rockets ain't so tough. They're just the toughest thing humans have ever built. And that's okay, but when they explode, you make the news. Heavier than they actually need these things to be thin. Because the heavier they get, the more energy it takes to throw them off the earth. Just a fact. So they're not tough, strong, good-looking steel things that you think they would be. When they're stacked as high as they are, we actually refer to ours as a noodle. And they move like a noodle. They shift all over the place. And I'll show you some of the stuff about how we actually built a rocket and what kind of problems that caused. But you need to understand, these things are sissies. You do not put anything in a rocket that doesn't make it go. There's an engineering fact, it's one of the most important principles you understand is, if it's not there, it can't break. If it can't break, it can't blow up. Very important rule to understand when you're building rockets. So this was our Ares toy here, and it's some of the data about it. And in 2006, that's when I quit the circuit, because this is my first gig back. I'm nervous, I'll tell you that. And when I'm nervous, my rate of speech goes up, as does my high-pitched voice anyway. So if you can't track what I'm saying, that's okay. I'm talking about a rocket. All those people who argue we were never on the moon, explain this. Because we put cameras in space from Arizona State University, if I got that name right, to show the moon. And here's pictures that, if you haven't seen these, it's pretty groovy because you can actually see the footprints. You can see the shuttle, you can see the landers. It's a little bit hard to see in here, but if you go on NASA's Astronomy Picture of the Day, there they are. And if it's on the internet, it must be true, so. So you can actually see the footprints. And here's Apollo. But Apollo is a series of things. It is not the machine. The machine actually had a name called Saturn V on the bottom, and different names on capsules on top. But the mission was Apollo. And our mission was Ares, because we're racing motors. So there's the business end of Apollo. And it's got 5 motors. And that's pretty typical. Shuttle has 5 engines. And the reason you want 5 engines is because you got 1 that pushes straight down and 4 to kind of give you balance. Because you were sitting on a cloud of fire. And if you can have a little spread wing thing going on, it's a whole lot more stable. You want to look at the business end of a Soviet rocket? This is what they look like. You want to talk about the wiring now? They are not linear. They do not have single threading, and they got all that kind of redundancy in motor. But I mean, Soviets are crazy, and they think we're insane now. I would argue that one of the things that this community is working on developing, this quest idea, the way to really model how to learn, is to engage people in the activities that allow them to build stuff. If you want to hook somebody's heart, you get their hands on the toys. Because that's when the understanding happens. And then we show them the academic side of it. But our industrial model of how students work, how students become engineers, is trust us on this one, do the math, you'll learn the job. Do the school, learn the job. Could you imagine what would happen if you could walk through the schools of those who have learned, like you could develop a telescope from scratch and understand that, and then see the mathematics of how optics work, how you can improve it? What would that be worth to an America if you could build technology at any level, student, adult, who's ever interested, and collaborate on things with some of the world's greatest minds in a single spot? Because that's what this quest is about. If you hadn't gotten the chance to look at that over, they're talking about building a new paradigm for the way we understand how to learn. Because that's really what NASA's all about, is we learn how to learn. What happens if we can engage that at a much younger crowd?